The following is a presentation of the Arizona Cardinals Broadcast Network. Coming up on Cardinals Birdwatch, Paul and Dani are here with the very latest from Cardinals HQ. Dani sits down with head coach Mike LaFleur and GM Monti Ossenfort at the Combine. Plus, we take you behind the scenes in Indy. It's all happening right now on Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek.
All right, right off the top here, you know what? How about a couple of words we use a lot this time of year? Hello and goodbye, as NFL players and coaches come and go.
We say hello, welcome into Cardinals Birdwatch, Paul Calvisi, Dani, Sureck, and goodbye to quarterback Kyler Murray, who posted on social media this week a goodbye message to the state of Arizona. Per multiple reports, Murray has been informed he will be released by the Cardinals next week at the start of the new league year unless he's traded first.
Yeah, look, nothing officially can be done till March 11th, so we'll go in depth next week. Besides, we're already full. I mean, we are loaded around here like Dani's carry-on bag to Indy, right? 2 winter jackets?
Paul,
2?
I actually don't have time to explain fashion to you, so I'm just going to move us along to some of our exclusive sit-down interviews from the week in Indy at the Combine. As much as quarterback is going to be a discussion this offseason, there's plenty of other positions to talk about as well.
That's true. Our big 3 is quarterback. Get to the quarterback, protect thy quarterback. So the big question is, which direction will the Cardinals go at number 3?
That was a question we had for Charles Davis with CBS. He answered our question with a question of his own.
Interesting part is picking at 3, right? Picking at 3, to me, is which side of the ball do they go with first? Is Monti Ossenfort going to go offensive line, as you just talked about? Or is he going to want somebody who can be a wrecker as a pass rusher? Because you've got those guys right there, and there's a very good chance that you get either the second bite of the apple or maybe the first bite of the apple in terms of pass rushers.
And based on everyone that you and Craig Grialou interviewed, it seems to be consensus is that pass rusher is the deepest position group?
Yes, described as choosing your favorite flavor of ice cream. It just kind of depends what you're in the mood for. Speed versus motor. Here's what NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah had to say about the edge rushers in this year's draft class.
When you look at, look how the teams are winning at the highest level right now. It's the Eagles, didn't have anybody with 10 sacks, but they had a wave of pass rushers win the Super Bowl. Seattle, nobody with 10 sacks, wave of pass rushers win a Super Bowl. So I think to build out your pass rush, you're going to really like this draft. You've got a lot of good options to choose from there. I think there's 3 guys that are worthy of that overall selection, or at least being in that conversation. For me, it's Bailey first from Texas Tech, Arvell Reese, a little bit more of a projection from Ohio State, and then Ruben Bain, who's just like a junkyard dog is the way I've kind of categorized him.
Look, still a lot of questions. You don't know who the Jets are taking number 2. All we do know is let the rampant speculation begin.
At this time of year, there's going to be a mock draft for every scenario. For the Cardinals, 2 of the players who have been mocked the most, offensive tackles Spencer Fano out of Utah and Francis Maui-Noa out of Miami.
And remember, 3 years ago, Paris Johnson Jr. was the number 6 pick overall. He's the franchise left tackle, so if O-line is again the choice, no one would be surprised, including ESPN's Dan Graziano.
Offensive line's another position where you can never get enough, and I think, that's probably whoever's going to play quarterback, you're going to want to make sure they're protected.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for Monti Ossenfort and the rest of the Cardinals organization. But to me, offensive line, defensive line, build from inside out, that feels like where we're headed to start with number 3.
Again, I don't think you can go wrong. I think if you're sitting at 3 and that's your question, you just take whichever guy you think is better, right? I don't know. I think edge rush and offensive line they hold up in terms of we look at over a number of years how many first-round draft picks hit or get to a second contract with the same team or all that. Those positions do pretty well in those metrics. So I think if you're not in a position where you need, or there's an obvious quarterback salute, I think you just take the best player at that high-value position because offensive tackles and edge rushers cost a lot of money.
Friendly reminder that in mock draft season, very rarely do these mock drafts actually represent or predict what goes down night 1 in April.
All right, we need a walk-off here. We need the oven mitt for a hot take, Dani.
It is never a good sign when Paul brings out the oven mitt for a burning hot take.
Field Yates, ESPN, is the one who's not ruling out quarterback for the Cardinals at number 3.
So for the Cardinals at number 3, that if they stay there, this pick could go any number of ways. Quarterback, I think I would not rule it out entirely. I think it maybe is more unlikely than likely at this juncture. But if they don't go quarterback, there are some options here.
Still ahead, Dani catches up with head coach Mike LaFleur at the Combine. More coming up on Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek. Cardinals Birdwatch is sponsored by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You have a sense of what the offense will look like, right? Because it's LaFleur, like his brother coaches the Packers. They all come from Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. Like half the league is running this offense or some variation of it. So you can figure out what that's going to look like.
All right, let's talk decision makers, because Dani, I know you were plenty busy at the Combine, busy enough for 2 winter jackets, but nobody is on the run more than the head coach and GM.
Paul, if you want to borrow my winter coats, you can just ask. You are right, though. As you were sitting here in sunny Arizona, we were working hard in the cold Midwest. I actually had a chance to sit down exclusively one-on-one with both general manager Monti Ossenfort and head coach Mike LaFleur.
No joke, you made the all-Combine team because you actually got both of them to sit down.
I appreciate you recognizing my hard work, Paul. It's about time someone does that around here. Yes, I had a chance to sit down with Coach LaFleur, his first Combine trip in a handful of years, his first as a head coach. Mike, it's been a few years since you've been at the Combine.
It's been
Your first one as the head coach. What do you want to accomplish this week?
Monti and their team that have been following these guys for months, years, if not, and so from a coaching perspective, you get done with the season, particularly in your first year, you start to learn your own players, free agents, and so this is your kind of your first little show at these guys, and you only get 20 minutes, and not a lot can get done in 20 minutes, but those first impressions are a big deal. You still want to always lean on the tape and stuff like that, but it does give you a little, insight of who they are as a person.
This week is all about gearing up for the draft at the end of April. Before we get there, we also have free agency, which starts in a few weeks. What's the collaboration process between you and Monti Ossenfort?
Everything's been just a great collaboration and communication, and it's not just Monti and the team and I. I mean, we had all the position coaches on the offensive side in last week talking about kind of how they saw people on our team, because again, everyone's trying to get to know each other. We just got our staff in, finishing up last week, so a lot has to get done between now and I believe March 11th.
Character and capacity are what's most important to you from your coaches as well as your players. What's a tell that somebody has both character and capacity?
From a draft perspective, you get the 20 minutes with them, but man, like what those scouts do and Monti's team behind the scenes to kind of give you a picture of who they are, and not just last year or 2 years ago, but when they first got there, what they were in high school, how they developed. So there's a lot that goes into it. Again, we're sitting here as coaches, and we get in the 11th hour, and we have our opinions, but there's a reason that Monti and their team are so good at what they do.
Physically, mentally, what tells you a player can continue having success from the college to the pros?
There's a lot of different factors in it because every position's a little bit different. I mean, the college game to the pro game is so different right now, just the way it's all played. But like, are they tough? Are they smart? And do they love the game? And again, there's some guys that you just know right away. There's other guys you got to do a little bit more digging.
How long until you and your staff are up to speed on the roster and what decisions you want to make, even in designing the playbook?
Yeah, and that's where you lean on a guy like Monti and their team. They're going to put the best roster in front of us as much as we can leading into OTAs and all that. I know me personally, I'm not going to ever feel caught up, but you just try to stay one day at a time. You try to stay just a little ahead of the players.
You said the advice you got from your brother Matt was to prioritize your to-do list because it's going to be ever growing. Once you put a bow on this week, what is going to be number one?
We get back on Monday, and that's really when both offense and defensive sides separately are going to start putting in their systems. We got our staff together, which is huge. I know all the guys have reached out to their position groups. Obviously I'm reaching out to all these guys. So much goes into it, but again, that's all 32 teams. Some teams don't have to install a whole new offense, but I'm a believer you always tear it down every year anyways. You're always going to have foundational aspects. That doesn't change year 1, year 2, year 3.
Busy time of the offseason. This is where the fun begins.
This
right?
is it, yeah. I mean,
sleep.
you don't need to sleep. A lot of these guys had no time off. You get done with training, you come to the Combine, you go back to training, you go do your pro day, then you get drafted, then you have rookie mini camp, and then you don't even know where you're at. And then rookies really don't have a lot of rules, so we get to keep them a little bit longer with our staff, bring them back a little bit earlier, and then they have the longest football season of their life. And it's like you can't take a deep breath. But again, I think all of them would pass that up for the opportunity that they're in.
Well, Mike, appreciate the time during this busy week here in Indianapolis. Cardinals fans, for more coverage for the Combine as we start to get closer to the draft and every point in between, stay locked in on azcardinals.com. In addition to all of the work with the draft prospects in Indy, it was also the first time LaFleur's finalized coaching staff was together, so they were working on their playbook and the schemes they want to run this year.
And then you come home, right? You have 30 visits with prospects, video interviews, and you got to get ready for free agency.
Still ahead, a behind-the-scenes look in Indy, photobombed by a surprise guest. More coming up on Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek. The segment is presented by SeatGeek, official primary ticketing partner of the Arizona Cardinals.
This is your captain speaking. Welcome to the NFL Combine.
Grinding hard, I be in the streets. No facade, came in to compete. Stay on guard, when I'm off the leash. You won't stop, ain't no one but me. Ain't no one but me. Who gon' compete?
It's the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. What does that mean? Well, consider this your crash course. For 1 week, all aspects of the NFL are represented and come together. General managers, coaches, scouts, and media to interact with and evaluate more than 300 draft prospects. Let's take a deeper dive at what really goes down in Indy. We're inside the Cardinals interview suite inside Lucas Oil Stadium. All 32 teams have their own. This is where general managers, scouts, and head coaches conduct formal one-on-one interviews with prospects they request to speak with. They'll do dozens of these throughout the week. Each one lasts 20 minutes, and that's the hard count with a big countdown on the monitor behind me that goes from green to red to let you know you're running out of time. This is where things get serious. Some of the questions are more relaxed to get to know the player's personality. This is really where a team can get a good idea on a player's maturity level and football IQ. Sometimes they'll go over college tape with a player. Others, they'll draw down a play on the whiteboard and see how a player would respond. This is the first opportunity the coaches get to interact with these players, and first impressions matter. The Cardinals like to make this space their own, decorating with pictures. They have some gear to hand out to prospects and a wide array of snacks to make sure everybody is full and happy. On the other side of the glass are the seats the Cardinals staff will sit in while they watch the drills that go down on the field inside Lucas Oil Stadium. This is the field inside Lucas Oil Stadium where athletic performance is measured. The 40-yard dash, vertical jump, and three-cone drill all take place here. For some players, a great run or jump can change their draft stock. Teams have been evaluating players for months. This is an opportunity to validate what they've learned throughout this process. This is the walkway that connects the convention center, where measurements and media takes place, into the stadium for formal interviews and on-field drills. As much as this week is about evaluating players, it's also about socializing and networking. Every single player, coach, and general manager will walk this hallway, and you never know who you're going to run into. This is the media center. Every general manager, head coach, and player will speak at a podium and field questions from local and national reporters. Some even go directly to a stage and are interviewed for a national TV or radio broadcast. For players, it's another opportunity to showcase their personality and football knowledge and their ability to handle tough questions from the media. From the field to the podium and behind closed doors, every interaction matters. While this week won't necessarily make or break a player's future in the NFL, it does make an impact. For teams like the Cardinals, this week helps shape the future.
All right, so Dani and the crew everywhere, including ESPN's Pat McAfee and his show?
That's an all-time photo bomb. As we were getting ready to start recording, I see the cameraman whip the camera, and I realize, is that noise coming towards us? I turn around, I see Pat McAfee and everyone on his stage standing up, yelling, waving towards us, which was pretty fun to have that interaction with them. I will give him props. During commercial break, Pat made it an effort to come and introduce themselves to us and say hi. We're no AQ Shipley, who's on his show every week, but we are a close second, I would like to think.
They're doing some news hit here. Hey, boys, let's stand up and wave.
Oh, yeah.
Where at?
Over here. Oh, nice.
Good to see you guys.
Bunny ears, bunny ears.
39th
bunny
year
ears.
for the Combine.
Are they talking to us?
See you guys.
Bunny ears.
What channel so I can tell my mom to watch?
Yeah, we don't know if we're in your background. Sorry.
Cardinals.
Coming up, Dani sits down with GM Monti Ossenfort in Indy. Stay with us. You're watching Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek. This segment is sponsored by Desert Financial Credit Union, official banking partner of the Arizona Cardinals.
I mean, who knows if we're even going to be picking at number 3. We got a long time to go between now and then.
All right, now that's interesting. GM Monti Ossenfort at the Combine saying the Cardinals could, wait for it, trade out of number 3? Would that be up or down?
He's done both, Paul. In 2023, his first draft in the big chair, Ossenfort traded down from 3 to 12, then back up to 6 to take left tackle Paris Johnson Jr. He's not afraid of making moves.
Also interesting, he said going into the Combine, the Cardinals' big board was mainly set, just leaving a little room for a few tweaks.
These on-field workouts paired with the interviews and the pro days all allow some wiggle room for players before they get finalized in their spot on the board ahead of the draft. Speaking of interviews, I had a chance to interview General Manager Monti Ossenfort in Indianapolis ahead of the 2026 draft. Monti, after you assess the 2025 season, what foundational pieces are you building upon for 2026?
Listen, the season didn't go as well as we wanted to, and so we got a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to add pieces to our team, and so that process starts now. It's been going on since the season ended. 2 major tentpoles of roster building occur here back to back in free agency and the draft, and this is the next step in the player evaluation process.
Every team wants to improve everywhere in the offseason. Which specific parts of the game overall are most pressing for you to address in the offseason?
Yeah, I think everywhere. Every year is a new team. There's the constant change in the NFL and rosters, and that's no different to us. Every team goes through it, and so what may not look like a need at one point can quickly become a need. And so we're trying to improve every aspect of our team and increase the competition at every position. And there's no place that we're going to say, well, we're all set at this position. So always looking to make our team better, and we can do that in a many number of ways.
4 first-round picks in your tenure. What's the number one quality you look for to make someone worthy of that honor?
We have to check a lot of boxes before we feel comfortable taking a player. And so whether that's in the first round or the 7th round, a player has to go through a lot of processes for us to be comfortable with him. And so we're going to do the same thing. We have a new staff this year, new staff coming in. They're busy, hard at work. This is the first chance for the coaches to sit down with those players. And we'll continue through our process, and we'll be ready to make the best selection for our team.
One of the new experiences this year is having Mike LaFleur as the head coach and his staff that he has put together. How do you toe the line of building a team your way as the GM while incorporating what your head coach wants?
Yeah, I think that's always part of roster building, and so it's our job as a scouting department, as a personnel department, to understand how it is that that Coach LaFleur and his staff wants to play the game from a schematic standpoint. I think we see things very similar in terms of the type of people that we're looking for, the people that are mature, dependable, going to put football first, going to put the team first, and so that's an easy part of it, and so we got to continue to strive to figure out who the people are, and then just understanding what exactly schematically that the players are going to be asked to do, so that we can go out as a scouting department and find those players that can fit that vision.
You said you wanted to see more player development starting this year. Where does that affect your draft decisions in terms of a player that can come in and start day one versus a player that might need more development?
Yeah, I think that is challenging. It's always challenging. That's a big jump from a player to make, from going from college football to the NFL. It's a completely different game, and you're talking about maturity and development, physically, mentally. So that's a challenge. So if guys that can make that transition that quickly, that's an impressive feat to do. And so that's always a balance. There's always guys that are further along in their development, but ultimately it's about finding the right type of person that can do the things that we want to do schematically, and whether that's game 1 or further down the line, or maybe even down the line in year 2. But it's really about finding the right people that fit our program.
Just between you and I, Monty, who are you taking at 3?
Dani, let's talk in a few months, and then we'll get that squared away. How's that sound?
Oh, it's fine. Can't say I didn't try, Cardinals fans. I did my best. We appreciate the time, Monty. Cardinals are going to be on the clock soon enough at the end of April, 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. We've got more coverage from the NFL Scouting Combine. For Monti Ossenfort, I'm Dani Sureck. Thanks so much for tuning in. Can't say I didn't try, Paul.
You definitely went down swinging, no doubt. I guess we're back to the mock drafts. At last count, 2 offensive tackles have been mocked to the Cardinals, 3 edge rushers at least, a running back, a quarterback, and probably more in the next 2 months.
Coming up, we hear from national reporters at the Combine. That's next on Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek. Welcome back to Cardinals Birdwatch, presented by SeatGeek. This segment is presented by AM/PM.
The summer of Larry continues. While Fitz is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, just announced the Cardinals will play in the Hall of Fame game.
Kicking off the NFL season, the first preseason game, Cardinals and Panthers, Thursday, August 6th from Canton, Ohio.
We're going to have Larry double and triple teamed, right? I mean, we're going to have cameras everywhere documenting everything about his new initials, HOF.
And Fitz is no stranger to tight coverage. Excited to see him in that gold jacket. It'll also be the first time we'll see the Cardinals play under new head coach Mike LaFleur and whoever they pick in the first round.
So right now the Cardinals are picking number 3, but wait a minute, what about a trade? We had to ask NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah.
It's hard to me to find where trades come in this draft. So where are the inflection points is where the trades take place, and that's usually somebody's coming up for a quarterback, somebody's coming up for an edge rusher. Well, we have really one quarterback that's, in my opinion, that's worth being up there, and he's gone 1-1. So that's off the table. And then the volume of pass rushers that we have. If you're a team that's picking, 10 to 14, you go, oh man, I love Bailey, but man, I can stay where I am now, not have to part with any assets, and I might get a Mesidor, or I could take a Howell or whoever else is a really, really good player. So I just don't see where that trade could potentially come from. I would tell Monty, get comfortable with that number of names where you're picking and be ready to turn that card, and I just don't know if you're going to get a phone call.
Of course, you know who GM Monti Ossenfort has on speed dial now? His new head coach, by the way, Mike LaFleur, turning 39 this past week.
Already a dozen years of coaching in the NFL under his belt. Many of those under Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, two of the most well-respected offensive minds in the game.
Yeah, LaFleur called plays for 2 years as the Jets OC, and while we still get to know the new head coach, he is very well known around the rest of the league.
Mike has been a guy that has been with the right people for a long time. He's in that club. He's very close with the Kyle Shanahans, Robert Saleh's, Sean McVay's, obviously his brother. I've known Mike a while. I think he's been very good at his job as an offensive coordinator. He wasn't a play caller under Sean McVay, but he does have that experience. So I'm fascinated to see what he's like in the big job, because I know he's he's been a guy that's been wondering for a while if he would ultimately get it, and here's his shot. So my thing is, when you get the shot, you got to be you, and I think Mike will be authentic in that respect.
And everybody says two things about him. Number one, he's just a super good dude, so you can enjoy being around him. He's just a good dude to be around. And number two is he's really, really smart. He's going to be at the forefront of where things are, and being with McVay. That's the lab, and that's the lab that's produced basically the offense. The entire league is running some variation of what they've done there. So I'm excited to see where he takes this thing. I'm really excited to see who he's got, taking snaps, and where that goes going forward. But no, I think it's going to be a real exciting era here. They're going to get this draft taken care of, get more of a foundation in place. But I think he'll do a really good job.
And by the way, more evidence that there's really no such thing as an offseason, because you know what's next? Straight ahead, free agency.
A handful of recent free agents who have made an impact on this team. Quarterback Jacoby Brissett, center Yelda Froholt, linebacker Mack Wilson Sr., and defensive lineman Calais Campbell, who just wrapped up season 18.
No doubt. Look, we'll see who and what positions the Cardinals target as we wish you a happy new league year next week.